All right, good evening, everyone. We're going to go ahead and start our meeting in the, as they say, the dog days of summer. So thank you very much for being here tonight. We will wave the magic hammer, and now the meeting starts. All right, we're going to go ahead and start with our agenda item number 1. Actually, I already did call the meeting to order. We just came out of our executive session, so we'll run right to number 3. If you'll join us, we're going to go ahead and stand up for about a 30-second moment of silence. Kind of gives us a chance to collect our thoughts. And then we're going to have Charlotte and Ty, a tag team, for our Pledge of Allegiance.
Please join me in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Charlotte and Ty, awesome. Congratulations. And you looked really nice, too. All right, next item on the agenda is our public hearing for, let's see, this is a nice mouthful. Hold on, Mr. Hicks, I want to do this. I'm really looking forward to saying this whole thing. Convene public hearing pursuant to ARS 15948C and D, 15905, 15905.01, 15962D, and 15103C for review of the proposed maintenance and operation and district additional assistant budgets for the fiscal year 2016 to 2017. Mr. Hicks, welcome, sir.
Good evening.
I completely got so excited about Mr. Hicks being here, I forgot about that. We need
Mr. Bullock,
Yes.
I move to convene the public hearing.
Awesome. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Awesome. First and seconded. Do we have voting buttons? We do. Please cast your vote.
I don't have a voting button.
It's coming soon. There it is. Wonder how it passes. Oh, 5-0. That was close. All right, Mr. Hicks. I will not read that again because I'll get so excited I'll jump to the next item. So take it away, sir.
Good evening, President Bullock, members of the board, Superintendent Dr. Darwin Stifler. Sorry about that. Colleagues and colleagues and community members. I will definitely work on that. Thank you very much for allowing me to present tonight. As I said at the last meeting, nothing has changed. So our proposed budget is exactly the same as our adopted budget. So although I have the same exact PowerPoint presentation as the last board meeting, and we have our adopted budget, which is exactly the same as our proposed, instead of going through it again and ad nauseum, I think I just read a few statements and then see if there's any comments, because really the public hearing intent here is to hear if there's any questions or concerns from the public in that sense. It is my pleasure to present the adopted budget for the 16-17 year. First, it is important to know where we are. This process did start back in December, and as we made our way through our proposed budget at the last meeting, and now, as is presented today, the adopted budget. With our community's approval of the override, and with Prop 123, there was been a slight increase in inflation, and as at the last meeting you also heard, there's a slight increase in our weighted student count. And so some of those variables are all moving in what I call the right direction. So it's had a very positive effect and impact on our budget. The budget includes a lot of things, but mainly we have an increase in our staff for all-day kindergarten, which is very important. We also have increases in compensation of approximately 6.81% to the base of all continuing employees, with varied amounts of one-time money also set aside, as has been talked about and discussed, from various forms to mainly to our certified staff in that sense. We do have the Prop 123 is providing a one-time payment for all staff as well. That is tiered and differentiated from the certified and classified and admin. That is two different amounts, with the admin getting the lesser amount. The budget has stipends for our leadership program, for the green teams, for student council at the elementary level to increase. It has stipends for our best buddies, unified sports programs. We also have a contingency of there, about approximately $1 million built into the budget. We've increased our sub rates. We've also reclassified 3 positions in the office. We've eliminated the ACR payment for our sub-program too. We are paying for class coverage, as well as we are providing some additional instructional resources, as well as increasing our special ed staffing from that standpoint. So all of these have provided, which is mainly in our M&O budget, but also in our capital budget, very positive impact on our budget. I also believe that, although last time I said our tax rate was probably going to be around $4.95 on our primary rate, I am probably a little too high on that, and it's probably going to decrease. So instead of an increase of 2 cents, we're probably looking at a decrease of around 12 cents on the tax rate, working with the county right now. So as I told you back then, it is just an estimate, and as they get additional information, they will make adjustments. I tried to come in at the proposed with a little bit on the high side of everything, making some bigger assumptions, and that will come down just a little bit. And so that is also positive news. And not wanting to talk ad nauseum about the budget, we've been at this for over 6 months, and so really I'll let the board, if there's any questions they have, and if not, then let any community members speak, as is with the proposed. When we get to this agenda item, there'll be nothing additional to say. The one thing I will say, just as for clarification, this is the one time that you normally see a request to also include proceeds, for insurance proceeds, the governing board approval of up to $500,000. That is a contingency amount that we do not know if we have any insurance proceeds, but by law we cannot spend out of that fund unless there's governing board approval. So we just pick a dollar amount that's a high amount. Anything beyond that, we would come back to the board. We do not right now have expectations of spending really any money out of that, but it allows us to, just in case something happens, to come out of that. And that's, I think, 151103 requires us to get governing board approval for that fund. So that is the one difference that you'll see from proposed to adopted tonight, and I will stand for any questions.
Thank you very much, Mr. Hicks. And just to our community and our staff, if you want to speak, and we'd love to hear from you, we actually encourage you to let us know what you're thinking about any topic. Of course, this is a specific topic. We do have a little green form you can fill out, and they are sitting out front. And we also have some over to where Mrs. McCarty is to your right. Fill out the form, bring it to us, and you get 3 minutes to discuss any topic as that agenda item comes up. So I do have one quick question for you, if you don't mind. I forgot to ask this last time. If you don't mind, if we can pull up a PDF file, it's actually the second PDF file, 2017 EXP BUD. Great. On page 3, actually I'd take page 2, my apologies. If you go back 1, and blow that up if you would, or zoom in. On, and just a clarification, under expenditures, you have item 100, regular education. The column is prior fiscal year, budget fiscal year. On top of that, FTE, full-time equivalents, or does that mean something different, this acronym this time?
Full-time equivalent.
Okay, and then as we go down to item number 4, which is 2,300 general administration, you've got 5.2, and then this year 6.5. Full-time equivalents, how is that number? Because obviously we don't have 5.2 full-time equivalents in administration. What does that number actually mean?
It is those that are coded directly. So as we've gone through our account code structure of what is coded to 2,300, that's the executive administration. The Auditor General does make changes in what exactly means executive administration, and we go through that. And we are trying to clean that up. And so, yes, I would say that is me. That was other positions that are no longer here in the main office that you come into. And so that is the general administration and the regular ed component of that.
Okay, so it's in essence a sign, just because it went up, that's why it was just the question.
Some of it is a process where we're constantly reviewing and evaluating if data is accurate or not, and if we see that it is not, we will increase it. And that does not mean we only have one superintendent, assistant superintendent. It's also support staff. It is everybody in that office that is doing executive administration type
Okay,
duties.
assigned to regular education. Okay, good. I just want to make sure, because at first look, I went, there's more than 5.2. But when you're, how much you're carving off and dedicating to the general education of the executive team, that makes sense. Okay, thank you. Fellow board members, any other questions or comments?
I just had one question. To implement the all-day kindergarten, do you know how many FTEs we increased?
President Bullock, members of the board, it was approximately 57 FTEs to implement all-day K across the board. And just to elaborate on that, that's $57 FTEs that are going into the classroom, because I know there's been a lot of, I read the papers, I read lots of things saying, hey, you're not putting more money in the classroom, this money isn't getting here, and I've seen where they're saying Peoria is hemorrhaging, in the red every single year. It's good to remember, by law, we can't overspend. If we do overspend, we send our general ledger to the Auditor General every single year. They look at it, and they'll make a determination, and the superintendent's certificate does get flagged if we do overspend in any one year. And so it does. One of my jobs is to make sure that never happens, to be quite honest. And so, by and large, we must live within our budget limits, and we do. Since I've been here and before I've been here, we always do live within those budget limits. Now, we do have situations times when we don't receive all the funds we're supposed to receive, and we will spend to what our capacity is. There's mechanisms within the system to, yes, it might spend and there isn't cash there, to provide that cash and then to levy a tax or something in that sense to make up for those gaps. But by and large, where I'm reading that we're overspending, we're not doing this, we are. We do a great job, and we have a lot of great people, and the dollars in the classroom, that will go up a little bit just because, just like what you said, we're putting 57 teachers into the classroom for all-day K, and that's right off the top. As we've done a lot of everybody gets raises in that sense, but there's some things that are weighted that are going into the classroom first, and so that will help us in that sense. So we continue, we evaluate, we work with the board to make the best decisions for our students every year. You're welcome.
Mr. Johnigan? Okay, Mrs. Doan?
No.
Okay, Ms. Connect? All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Hicks. Mrs. McCarty, do we have any speaker requests tonight? Okay. Wait, but wait. What's that? Oh, different topic. Okay, no problem. Well, we will catch you on that appropriate topic.
Got excited.
Okay, this is an action item to move it to a vote. Do I have if there's no more questions, a motion and a second to move this to a vote, including the added $500,000, up to $500,000 of insurance proceeds spending before additional board approval is needed, even if we don't get it? Well, it's giving us an action item before we can move on, that's why. Okay. Okay, that's what we're talking about, because after we voted, it didn't advance like it usually does. Okay, my apologies, you bet. I just click a button and magically we move on. All right, then we move on to item number 6, and this is the vote to adjourn our public meeting. Do we have a motion and
I
a second?
move that we adjourn our public hearing.
And a second?
I'll second.
All right, been moved and seconded. Please cast your vote. We have left. Excellent. There we go. Manually moved, it worked again. Number 7, consideration of the maintenance and operation and district additional assistance fund budgets for the 2016-27 fiscal year and authorization to spend up to $500,000 of insurance proceeds. This is the action item based on what Mr. Hicks just described. We need a motion and a second to move this to a vote as well.
I will motion that the governing board approve expenditure budget, including the maintenance and operations and district additional assistance fund budgets for 2016 and 17, and authorize the expenditure of up to $500,000 of insurance proceeds.
Great. Do we have a second for this?
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Please cast your votes.
It's a roll call vote.
Bottom, there it is. All right, let's move on with roll call. Ms. McCarty, do you want to do roll call?
Yes.
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 All right. Passes 5-0. Thank you very much, Mr. Hicks, Mrs. McCarty, and board members. Now we got to move on to, not that the financial part is not exciting. I hate to do this to Mr. Hicks, but the best part of the meeting, staff recognitions, is now about to take place. Let's see, Mrs. Dunsey will be handling this.
Thank you, President Bullock, members of the board, Dr. Stifler. Tonight, we would like to acknowledge a new program available to Peoria Unified students called Aim to Teach. in partnership with Arizona State University's Mary Lou Fulton Teachers College. The inaugural program aims to identify and encourage and support high school students who demonstrate the skills, attributes, and attitude of becoming professional educators. Aim to Teach began as an initiative out of the dean's office at the university. It was designed to create a pipeline of highly qualified and well-prepared teachers for the current teacher shortage. ASU realized the need for this, and based on statistics, they know that students want to teach, and many prefer to stay within their own school district. In the fall of 2015, 5 juniors and 5 seniors in Peoria Unified began the program. Although Peoria Unified was the first district to implement this program, it has now grown to additional districts in both the East and the West Valley. This evening, we would like to recognize a key individual who helped to make this a successful start to a growing relationship that Peoria Unified and Arizona State University, as well as recent graduates who plan to attend ASU this fall. When I announce your name, please stand. Karina Kwamea. She is the Assistant Director with the Mary Lou Fulton Teachers College at the West Campus. She oversees programs which allow for high school students to be successful as they transfer to the Teachers College. Karina establishes relationships which lead to student engagement and works closely with ASU's outreach coordinators to ensure the participants in this Aim to Teach program that they are attending workshops and are exposed to professional events. Unable to join us tonight, but a recent graduate from Cactus High School is David Pratt, who is going to be majoring in secondary education at ASU, who has a focus on math. Once he completes his degree, he plans to teach within our school district. He credits the Aim to Teach program for his ability to finance his education and gain the confidence needed to enter the educational field. And because he has a brand new job, unfortunately, he was unable to join us this evening. But here with us, and please stand when I call your name, is Esmeralda Lopez, who graduated from Centennial High School in May, and she is also attending ASU Mary Lou Fulton Teachers College in the fall. She will be majoring in early childhood education with a focus on special education. The Aim to Teach program allowed Esmeralda to obtain scholarships and participate in a shadow day, where she was able to visit the ASU campus. She is excited to work in our Peoria Unified School District once she has completed her program at ASU. I would like to give them both a round of applause and thank you for being here today. Here at Peoria Unified, we are extremely thankful for the partnerships that continue our mission and vision for our students and ensuring their success. I would like to invite Karina and Esmeralda up to the podium and stand for any questions or comments from our governing board. Karina was my daughter's teacher and is amazing. I'm sorry, Esmeralda.
Did you know you were going to be called up?
Yes.
Okay, good, because we hate shocking people. Well, thank you very much for being here. I will look to my fellow board members for questions and comments.
How many years has this been? When did it start?
It just started
It just
fall
started.
2015.
Okay.
And we were able to partner with Peoria, so you are our first, and Esmeralda is our first, so we are very excited about that.
Well, our daughters graduated from Centennial, so it's great to have you. Congratulations, thank you for being here.
Mr. Jonigan.
I just say, this is a great program, especially that I'm hearing that they're coming back to the district to teach. I think that's fantastic. We often talk about growing our own, if you will, and I think this is a great program that helps us accomplish that. And I'm glad to see the fruits from the labor already producing. And let me, if I could, just ask a quick question. What is it that drove you mainly into this program? How did you become aware of this while in school?
I was in the COOP program, and that's when this program was announced. And I was like, I'm just going to take it and learn what age group I would like to teach in. And that's when I liked the little ones.
Were you already guiding yourself towards that career path, or was this more of an exploratory?
I was on edge, but I liked special education and prep.
So it helped solidify?
Yeah.
Very nice. Very nice. Well, congratulations and welcome.
Thank you. Mrs. Doan?
Oh, I would like to say congratulations. I'm really excited to see another avenue for our students to be able to further their education, find out what they want before they go to college. That's really important. And I'm thankful that you're interested in teaching. It's sometimes a thankless task a little bit, but it's worthwhile. It's so worthwhile, and I'm particularly tickled that you're interested in special education, and I just wish you all the best.
Thank you.
And
Mrs. Connect?
Karina, well, how nice to see you here tonight. It was a nice surprise. Our paths have crossed many times. She's a really dynamic woman, and I'm really glad that we're collaborating on this pipeline thing. I'd like you to comment, as you work with fledgling teachers who are coming into the career and maybe thinking, I don't know, is this right for me? What kind of things do we as board members need to know about this new generation of teachers coming in?
Sure. I'm not sure that I can add too much to that. I know you are all very knowledgeable on all things teaching and school and education, but we all know, and we have addressed with, especially within this program, that our students oftentimes do want to go into teaching, oftentimes are discouraged by their very own parents, by their very own teachers, own administrators. So what we know as the Teachers College at Mary Lou Fulton Teachers College is that we need to support our students. And so anything we can do to partner with you all to demonstrate that support, that teaching is a very, although we don't see it like that in our society, it's a very elite career. And we need dynamic teachers, and we need students who have this potential. So anything that we can partner with to support our students, to support your administrators, your counselors, your principals, to ensure that we are catching all of these students. And one of the great things about Aim to Teach is that we know they need that support, right? So we are offering professional development workshops. We are offering trips to come onto campus. We are offering workshops on admissions, financial aid, to make sure that students are aware of pursuing a career in teaching, that they can earn scholarships. So that's another opportunity for our students, an opportunity to take a college course and earn credit while they're in high school. So we're trying to fill in those gaps that maybe oftentimes some of our students aren't seeing. So one of the things that I would urge is just support in these types of programs where we can grow here. And like you mentioned, it is a grow your own, and that was the idea behind it. So we know there's a teacher shortage, so what can we do about it right here in Peoria, where we can grow your students to come back to your own district and place them in your district for their student internships, and then come back and place them for jobs.
That's great, thank you. And Esmeralda, on a personal level, were there times that you felt discouraged? And if so, what happened that you said, nope, this is what I'm gonna do?
I guess, like Karina said, some of your teachers it depends, puts you on edge, I guess. But I saw the program as, I want to be a teacher, and I want to have my own way to just teach the kids and take from different teachers, so.
Okay, well, good luck to you.
Thank you.
Quick comment, I'm glad you said about an elite profession. When I was a kid many, many years ago, teaching was a noble profession. That's the best term I can use. It was a noble profession. It was esteemed as any other professional position. I don't know exactly when it started tapering off from that, but I'm sad. One of the biggest things I've learned by being on the board for the last 3.5 years is how afraid I am for the next 10 years on really dynamic people coming into the profession, let alone keeping the dynamic people that we have. So I'm going to ask Esmeralda, you message very good what you're looking for to try and attract young people, but I want to look at the customer side messaging, customer side being the students you're trying to message to. So I'm going to ask you, help us help you and other people like you, other students like you. What message, what opportunity, what things do you need to hear, do you think other students need to hear to start bolstering our ranks of incoming dynamic teachers such as yourself who will someday be the stars of a district? What do you need to hear? Because one thing is, as adults, we can say we need more great teachers, we're going to provide great opportunities, which we do, and I'm not knocking that. But sometimes you have to flip on the other side and say, what do the kids need to hear to get them excited at a young age to hop on that path, then to head to success as a dynamic teacher? What do you need to hear? What do other students need to hear to get into the program?
I feel like as a student, you're more attracted to a teacher that will understand what you're going through and put that into your work instead of just kind of closing off and not knowing. So I guess it would just be knowing your students and the kids feeling comfortable, so make the students comfortable.
Okay, so, and that's interesting. I've asked a couple other students who want to be teachers that same thing, and they said the number one thing that got them into the profession or interested or hopping on that track is a teacher that they loved and who showed them love back, of showing them that who cares what you hear? Who cares what, politics and money and all that kind of stuff? It is a noble profession if we all agree on that. And you're the only one that's going to change that mentality in society, that teaching still is a noble profession. So that to hear you say that, that's very encouraging, but also puts an onus then on our star teachers we have now to, they're strained so many different ways, keep working with students to let them know that even though it's frustrating at times, it is still a noble profession. And without fantastic, dynamic, really forward-thinking teachers, we don't have a very exciting future. So thank you for hopping into it, and I hope that you become an ambassador for that. Thank you. All right, thank you very much, ladies. Do you have any more? Okay. Dr. Stifler, any staff recognitions for tonight, sir?
We're good.
Okay. All right, well, let's move on to the next item, board recognitions. I'm going to take the mic first. It is my esteemed privilege and honor to welcome our new superintendent, Dr. Darwin Stifler, as we start a new chapter in the dynamic gem of Peoria that is PUSD. So, sir, I would like to formally welcome you on behalf of the board and let you know you have our full support to do whatever we can to keep Peoria moving in a positive direction and get you acclimated and supported to help make this district continue to make it dynamic.
President Bullock, members of the board, I could not be more excited. I cannot tell you how long a time it is from about April 15th to today. It is an interminable amount of time. Thank you for believing in me and bringing me here. It's going to be a great year. In fact, it already is. So thank you, sir.
Very good. Thank you. We'll go to other board recognitions. Anything over the last couple of weeks, Mrs. Pangarilli? Okay.
No.
John again? All right. Mrs. Doan? Okay, I think that's it.
No.
I just wanted to, it was just fun. Sorry, I don't know why I just did that. Mrs. Connect?
Just messing with my head again.
Is.
So I'm here to beg the indulgence of my fellow board members. First of all, apologize for my absence and explain where I have been to you and the community. I know you know, and I was in close contact with Mr. Bullock on the phone and Dr. Santarelli and some teachers actually over my absence. I have been working in my role as Arizona School Boards Association president. The first meeting that, well, I have to admit, the first meeting I missed was on a family vacation. But the next two, I was working really hard for school districts across the state. The first one was at the Arizona School Boards Association Summer Leadership Conference and the associated board meeting that goes along with that. And we got to hear from Mary Kerner from the College of Education at ASU. The theme of the conference obviously was leadership, and she was very inspirational. Secretary Douglas came and talked about how she is working to implement the new federal guidelines in the Every Student Succeeds Act. It is her charge to come up with a plan that will put that new law into place, and then we, of course, will implement it on the school site level. They talked about full-scale digital learning, which was happening actually in Sunnyside School District. They have a really good
For a number of
example.
years, yes.
Yes, and some things that we can observe and learn maybe from them. Talked about, had, excuse me, a debrief on Proposition 1, 2, 3. And then Lily DeBlue, who's here, a West Valley superintendent, talked about leading and was really quite inspirational. And then the next meeting that I missed, I was in Washington, D.C. I actually had a meeting in between in Washington, D.C. I didn't miss the school board meeting, but it was at the National School Boards Association advocacy event. And at that one, we really got an in-depth learning about the ESSA and a number of other issues. I was the messenger of some of the issues that from the federal level that are affecting our school district. I'd like to thank those administrators who provided me with some information that I could relay to our senators and congresspeople. And I'm going to recommend later in our agenda that one of the things that we as a board talk about is how ESSA will affect us on the school district level.
Good.
So that was very interesting. I did meet with staffers from Senators McCain and Flake. They're very interested in what we're doing here in Peoria, and also with Congressman Grijalva. And then other delegates from the state of Arizona met with those other congresspeople. And really the message about ESSA that we wanted to say is we're excited about the emphasis on more local control, but we want to make sure that the best parts of the law are translated down to benefit our kids at the local level, and that we need that support in the state level.
Yep.
And we want to be invited to the table at the state level to make sure that our needs for our students are being addressed. So really that was just the most of it. And then finally, the last week, this is the longest trip away from my family I ever had. It was exciting though. But the last one was, I went to the National Association of Latino Elected Officials, which is a large national organization that has partnerships with the Arizona School Boards Association, and they had a track about education. And we talked about how new testing is affecting our populations, about early learning opportunities for kids and how they really help support our workforce and also help prepare kids for learning in our school districts. And a very interesting international panel. And about how to get our communities involved and civically engaged. So it was a whirlwind tour. I regret that I wasn't able to join you at these board meetings, but I want to reassure you that I was in close contact and knew what was going on. I want to commend this board. I know there was a very controversial issue that went on having to do with personal days, and I commend this body for deciding to table that. I think that was the right thing to do. So I missed you. I hope you missed me. I'm back to stay for a while, and thank you very much for understanding.
Well, we welcome you back, and I have to tell you that while you're gone, the four of us voted to give you a 10% pay decrease for 90 days as retribution for enjoying a whirlwind trip while we were stuck here in the 120-degree heat. So 10% will be coming out of your next 3 paychecks.
Okay.
All right, next item on the agenda is request to address the governing board regarding matters not included on the agenda. We do have one, and it is Mrs. Martinez. If you come on up. And Mrs. Connect, who just got back, will be starting the 3-minute timer. And for those who are leaving us because it's not fun anymore, thank you. We appreciate what you do. Did I just say that? Thank you for being here, Ms. Martinez.
Good evening, President Bullock, members of the board. I wanted to congratulate them as well as Mr. Donovan. We do like to breed our own, and as a product of Peoria and a product of the University of Arizona Teacher College, I am well aware of the successes, and we have been discouraged not to enter the education field, but because of my teachers has brought me to this profession, so thank you again. But I am here on another note. This is our family, and today I am here as a parent of students from this district and a proud product. I admire Dr. Stifler and welcome you. Admire your passion to education. I have identified your background as we all have done research and appreciate your multicultural education as Peoria is continuing to grow. Your curriculum development will be key contributors to the success of Peoria. Your efforts also in acclimating yourself to Peoria has been noted, and we also appreciate that. We are a family here, and I wanted to clarify some information just as you continue your efforts to get to know Peoria. We are constantly referred to as stakeholders. We are not. We are partners in the success and commitment to our children. We support you and truly trust that you will be and do the best interests for our students and our educators in Peoria. So thank you and welcome from a parent of Peoria.
Very nice.
Thank you, it was very kind. Next item on the agenda is number 11, address agenda and consider adoption or recommended changes, a chance for board members to reprioritize or move the agenda items around for expediency of any sort. Anybody? Anybody? All right, the agenda moves on as stated. Number 12, consideration of approval to enter into an employment contract with Darwin J. Stifler, Educational Doctorate of Education, for the position of superintendent for the 2017-2018 fiscal year. Oh, I'm presenting it. Okay, scroll down to see who's in charge. It's rarely me, so that's why I wasn't, so I apologize. This is a chance for us board members to, we have reviewed, a quick little history. Traditionally, contracts for a superintendent are 2 years, statistically, traditionally. And so we gave Dr. Stifler a contract for the 2016-2017. And now that he is officially an employee, we could not do this before July 1st because he wasn't an employee. Now that he's officially an employee, we can extend an additional year contract, which we of the board have decided and talked about to offer for 2017-2018. Again, the contract is obviously public information, public viewing, so there's nothing that everybody can't see and know. But I'd like to, we've discussed this, that was part of our executive session, some things we discussed. If there's any questions, comments for the public that you'd like to bring up at this point. If not, we'll go ahead and move it to a vote, which it requires to approve the 2017-2018 contract. Do we have a motion to move this to a vote?
I will motion that the governing board approve the employment contract with Darwin Stifler for the position of superintendent for the 2016-2017 fiscal year as presented.
Now, hold it real quick. Is that a typo? Because it's
I was gonna say it shouldn't be
2017-18 at the top. It should be 17-18 on the motion.
President Bullock, it is a typo, but the contract's correct. It'll be okay.
Right, but we need, let's just, can we just, I just want to make sure, can we change that? It should be, the motion should be 17-18, correct. Yeah, I just, by the letter of the law, let's do it right.
Your 3 minutes is up.
Thank you for letting me have 48 seconds of your time. Yeah, we'll go ahead and just change the motion so it's accurate, Mr. John.
And then
if
I
you don't
will,
mind,
I will
bringing that up
restate
again.
accordingly and say that I move that we approve the employment contract with Darwin Stifler for the position of superintendent for the 2017-2018 fiscal year.
Perfect, thank you. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Did you both say it at the same time? That was weird.
Exactly.
Wow, stereo.
Stereophonic.
Okay, we have a third, apparently, so it's that good. All right, wonderful. Go ahead and, board members, cast your vote when the options appear. All right, welcome aboard.
Thank you.
Next item on the agenda is consideration of recommendation for administrative appointments for the 2016-2017 school year. Mr. Hicks, welcome back, sir.
Good evening. President Bullock, members of the governing board, Superintendent Dr. Darwin Stifler, colleagues, community members, it is my honor to present tonight two candidates that we have for administrative approval. If it's all right, I'm just going to go through a little bio on both of them, and then we'll have you vote on that. Administrator of Human Resources that is replacing Mr. Tom Hancock is Dr. Carter Davidson. He is actually on vacation tonight, so I apologize. He's in absence here tonight. But Dr. Davidson holds a bachelor degree in special ed from Grand Canyon, a master's degree in education administration from ASU, and a doctorate of education and leadership and innovation from ASU. He comes from to PSD from Alhambra Elementary School District, where he began his career 15 years ago. He served the students of that district as a special ed teacher, an intervention specialist, a principal, a director of student services, and most recently, the director of human resources, support services, and also STEM. He and his wife are the proud parents of 2 children, a son and a daughter. In addition, we also have our administrator of facilities and construction services, replacing Mr. Gerald Reynolds, which is Mr. Chris Deeg. He is here with his family, Leslie Deeg, and you heard Ty and Charlotte lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance today. So thank you for all being here. Although new to the position, Mr. Deeg certainly is not new to Peoria Unified School District. He joined our district at the maintenance department in 2004. He spent a year working at Zuni Hills and Centennial High School before moving into the centralized maintenance position in 2005. Then, Chris was promoted to special systems supervisor in 2008 and then to the supervisor of district maintenance services in 2013. He holds a bachelor's degree in business management from the University of Phoenix, and I will tell you it's been a pleasure working with him. He's technically already started the job for the last 14 days, and I'm in constant communication. I'm very proud to recommend him and Dr. Davidson for both of these positions.
Wonderful. Thank you, Mr. Hicks. I actually had a chance to meet Chris at our last Valley Schools Insurance Trust Board meeting, where we talked about all the money we're spending when Mother Nature destroys our schools or vandalism and everything else, and I was very impressed with Chris. Jared and Chris were both there, and he took over right away and was giving information, and he was serious and good to work with, easy to work with, and you could tell he had a genuine care. You care about what you do, and that's half the battle. So I got that just from our first meeting and having a little fun with each other and jabbing back and forth, so it was a good time. So we're happy to have you here. All right, this is an action item. We again need a motion and a second to approve or disapprove these appointments. Do I have a motion to move this to a vote?
I motion that the governing board approve the administrative appointments as presented.
Do I have a second? I will second it. I talked about him. I'll second it. Okay, it's been moved and seconded.
You forget he can do that sometimes.
Yeah, well, I don't want to dominate the seconds. I did that last year. All right, welcome aboard. Thank you very much. There he is. Step up, you bet. We've got questions for you.
All right.
But first, if you have an opening statement, go ahead, sir.
Okay, I would be lying if I said I wasn't a little nervous, but I'm here tonight to President Bullock and the members of the board to tell you thank you, that I am very excited and honored to be chosen for the new facilities administrator, and looking forward with all of the members. There's lots of people in this room I've created great relationships with already, and I look forward to continuing that and putting the needs of our staff and students at the highest level, and keeping that at the top of my priority list on a daily basis.
Good. You know, what's interesting is that we all have kids in the district, have a lot of friends and parents in the district, and one of the things that I get asked about a lot is safety, security, and maintenance. And you know, of course, the conversation about curriculum and teachers and all that goes without saying, but I'm impressed and surprised how much I hear that about, you know, what are you gonna do about this school, and oh, my school looked really clean, or hey, thanks for repairing that fence because it was scaring me when I dropped my kids off. So to you and your staff, thank you. And I know you've been doing this for a while. Thank you for recognizing that although teaching is extremely important, and bus drivers and food service workers, all that, they're all a cohesive community. They work together. Maintenance is just as important from a safety, from a security, and quite honestly, from a morale point of view. If your school looks good, it functions well, it's cool in the summer, it's warm in the winter, again, I'm not a teacher, but I'm going to go out on a limb and say that helps increase the academic variety and academic adhesion. There's a good maintenance term of what we're teaching here. I have no idea where that just came from, but it's really cool, adhesion. But seriously, it is important. As a parent, I've had 6 kids either in Peoria schools or have gone through Peoria schools, and that's one of the first things that I look for, and especially my wife, is a place look good? Does it feel comfortable? Does it feel safe? And then knowledge can be transferred. So thank you for doing that.
You're right. Aesthetics really send a message to our students about how important they are.
Absolutely.
Good. There are comments from Mrs. Doan?
Welcome aboard. Excited to have you.
Just congratulations and welcome.
Thank you very much.
You're a pretty good speaker for a facilities guy. Good job.
It's not my specialty, but
Good job. Nice.
Take that.
I'll put a bow on everything and just say congratulations, welcome, and we look forward to working with you.
thank you very much.
Very good.
Here tonight, we appreciate it. And your family too, and you've got really cool kids who aren't afraid to come.
I'm super proud of them for getting
Yeah,
up here
nice
today.
They're
kids.
dressed sharp too, which is cool. I dig your son's shoes, so that was good.
I would like to acknowledge the fact that my wife, Leslie Deeg, she just accepted a new counselor position over at RSK.
Oh,
And
good.
And she came to us from Copperwood Elementary as a 9-year PE teacher.
Awesome. Keeping it local. We just talked about that.
Yes.
So, well, good. Well, thank you for being here. We appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
All right. All right, next item on the agenda is presentation consideration of approval of an external research request submitted by Kim Fisher, PhD with Arizona State University. Mrs. Davy. I'm going to do I'm excited about what you're about to say, but we've got to get a U of A research study here.
I think we've had one.
Okay, thank you.
Good evening.
Thank you for being here. We appreciate it.
Well, the Teachers College is like 2 miles from here. That's, we're,
That's all right. Bear down. Guys,
okay, whatever.
Good evening, President Bullock, governing board members, Dr. Stifler, and guests. It is my honor tonight to present another external research from Arizona State University and Dr. Kim Fisher. You have met her before, and she's been before us once before. The purpose of the study is to examine the advice-seeking, information-providing, and friendship network of elementary, middle, and high school general and special ed teachers. It is to determine the presence or absence of teachers' social ties, understand factors related to access social resources within a school organization, and understand the relationship between individual factors and teachers' social ties with the knowledge of the evidence-based practice, job satisfaction, and I love this word, job self-efficacy. I had to work on that one. Now I'll go back and we'll put it in a little bit more simple terms. This research is about professional learning communities, networking, and team collaboration. The research has proven over and over again that this is beneficial to teachers, students, and the organizations in which they reside. This study specifically looks at the benefit and the effect on special education teachers and their network. This is a little bit of research that's missing in all that network PLC type research. The research breaks down into basically 2 parts. We have part 1, which they are asking to either work with 1 or 2 of our high schools, where they will survey all of the high school teachers to get an idea and a base of how the network works within the organization. Part 2 asks that any of the special ed teachers who take that survey who would like to be part of a personal interview provide that information, and then they will be contacted in an interview set up with them in a 45-minute interview that'll occur outside of their normal workday. The initial interview also is about 15-20 minutes and can be done outside of the interview and is voluntary with all the right permissions, slips, and everything that goes with it as well. The instruments that will be used were included in the board package, and the design and the methodology of this research is in line with current research practices. I am going to ask that Dr. Fisher join me up here so that you can ask her any questions that you may have regarding this research. It's not as big as we normally bring to you guys, but it's still very effective research in getting the opinions of our teachers and especially our special ed teachers. Dr. Fisher, would you like to come up?
welcome, Dr. Fisher. Good to see you again.
Nice to see you.
Let me see, quick question. In the document, page 2, there's a sentence, not that we have to turn to it, there's a sentence that says, previous research, and this just helped me understand it, all the holes in my knowledge gaps that I have being involved in the district. Previous research has indicated that individual social ties impact access to resources within organizational structures. And this is going to be maybe a bad question, what is a social tie, and why is that so indicative of access to resources?
So great question. So this study really is looking at the organizational behavior of a school, so looking at a school as an organization, and that information flows between gen ed teachers, special ed teachers, school counselors, through formal mechanisms, school announcements, staff meetings, those kind of things, but also through informal ties. So how connected you are. Do you eat lunch together? Are you friends outside the school? Are you on a coaching team together? And so really what we're looking at is typically research has shown that special education teachers are typically isolated from the overall network of the school organizations. Yep. And what we want to see is that what's happening in really large-scale settings, diverse settings, like a place like Peoria. And if it is not, which is kind of our hypothesis, that might be dependent on opportunities that principals and assistant principals give to special ed teachers. So are they bringing those teachers into
principal advisory committees, or on curriculum development meetings, or on just sports-related or arts-related activities within the school. So the social ties are really the connections that teachers have with each other. Who do they go to for advice? Who do they go to for information about curriculum or best practices? And who do they go to for just because they're friends?
Good, thank you. And then the second part of that question is, give me an idea, name like 2 or 3 resources that special education teachers would love to have access to that by their off-the-gridness, by what you're saying, they maybe don't have access to, they wish they would have access to. Just maybe some examples off the top of your head.
Can you restate the question?
Yeah, you bet. Just saying, access to resources. So if they're isolated, they're off the grid, and that makes complete sense with my tours of schools. I see that from an outsider's perspective. So what resources may they be missing out on or missing access to because of their remoteness, if you will?
So when you are a special education teacher, speaking as one myself, when you're not really integrated into the school, you might not feel a part of general initiatives like STEM programming, or maybe you don't feel connected to the testing, especially for teachers of kids with moderate to severe disabilities, which is what the second part of the study is. So you're not necessarily feeling a part of initiatives school-wide. So if you have increased social ties, you might have access to information about current curriculum for your students. So for instance, one school was studying, last year, NASA astronaut Scott Kelly's year-round mission in the International Space Station. And because one of the special education teachers was really connected with the science teacher, her students actually got more opportunity to be included in the general education programming unit. So just even that kind of information. And other research in terms of teachers' ability to do their jobs, their self-efficacy, that increases when you're really a core network member of the school, as well as your job satisfaction.
Good, well, I appreciate that. And I hope the end result of your research fills that gap and brings it so it's cohesive. That would be neat. I'll start my right. Ms. Pangarelli, questions or comments?
Yes, you're looking at 1 to 2 schools in Peoria, and I've seen 1 to 2 schools in Wisconsin, and then 1 to 2 in Michigan?
Exactly,
Okay.
yes. And that's 1 to 2 high schools. So we're also, we're kind of sectioning it off. There's elementary schools and middle schools and high schools, and we're going to different districts to get those types of schools. But yes, there'll be 2 sites in Wisconsin and 2 sites in Michigan.
Okay. And then I seen that you needed to have a participation rate of approximately 80%. Do you think that's kind of high? Do you think
It's
you'll be
very
able to-
high, yes,
Okay.
it's very high. But the minimal that we can have to run the analysis is 55%. So we're hopeful. And if we don't get that, we can, there's some incentives that we have.
Yeah, I've seen some of your incentives in there.
Yes, I have a grant application in for this study, so we're hopeful that we can bump that up so that it's not, that's more incentivized to participate.
Well, good luck.
Sure, thank you.
Mr. Jonigan, any questions? Okay. Mrs. Doan, any questions?
I don't have any questions. I just am very encouraged to see this because I have seen through the years how isolated special education teachers can be, and that leads to their students being isolated. And I have looked around in Peoria, and I have seen a lot more integration of the classes and stuff than in other areas and in past times. So I'm very encouraged to see this, and good luck.
Thank you.
No, sir, I'm in support of all good science that helps us do a better job.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much. Thank you, Ms. Davies. So this is an action item. We need a motion and a second to bring this to a vote. Do I have a motion?
I would like to move that we approve this external research request by Kim Fisher with Arizona State University.
Great. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Please cast your votes. All right. Good luck, and we look forward to the, as we always call it, the actionable data to help us move our district forward. So thank you.
Thanks for the opportunity.
All right, see you later. Thank you, Ms. Davy. Next item on the agenda, number 15, report and discussion on local, state, and federal legislative issues and activities. Dr. Stifler?
Absolutely ready, sir.
All right.
President Bullock, members of the board, it's the summer, it's the fallow time, but this is the time when things are really starting to gel that are going to come forward. Let me share a few things. ABEC, the Arizona Business and Education Coalition, two things there. I've been elected to serve on their board of directors, and so I'm glad to do that and be, they're an influential group to help drive the discussions about how especially schools should be funded would be the most important thing. ABEC is currently engaged with the governor's office to identify a new funding source. So not a new tax, but a new funding source, maybe looking at things the same way as Nevada has a gaming tax, or Texas and Alaska use oil and pumping to drive that into the education formula, and exploring, is there anything like that in Arizona that could be used that is not a new tax? At Arizona School Board Association, well, they're gearing up for the school year and the upcoming legislative session with some new faces, and they're preparing for the law conference. And I would encourage you all, if you can, possibly to attend that law conference. That law conference is where, as the legislature had been doing its work last spring, now we know what that's going to look like and what is the impact on schools and boards. And if you can possibly attend, I would really recommend that you do so. Also coming up for this board here, the 2016 political agenda and the delegate assembly for ASBA. We need to make sure that we're on top of that, and I'm absolutely confident that we are, considering that the president of ASBA sits on this board. The Arizona legislature, mercifully, it's not in session right now. The one thing I think we need to be watching that I haven't seen as much as perhaps, the initiative going forward to decriminalize marijuana and what impact that could have on our schools. There is no legal way to say that people of age less than 18 aren't going to be able to get that, but in other places it's had impacts on schools, and I think we need to have a conversation within our district about what that impact could be as that continues to march towards the November election to be decriminalized in the state. Governor Ducey's office, the Classroom First initiative, we are very fortunate. We are blessed to be well representative with our CFO, Mr. Hicks, on that. They're reviewing proposals how to reform how Arizona funds its schools and be able to recommend that to the legislature. As I said, this is the time when the legislature is dreaming up the ideas that are going to become law, and they come from a lot of different directions. A lot of that, at least in this governor's administration, comes from the governor directly. ADE, we had already heard earlier this evening, determining regulations for how Arizona will implement ESSA. It's kind of quiet publicly. It's going to impact all of us. We need to be engaged with that, how that's going to happen. I agree with all of the comments that I heard that it's nice that we're not being told from 2,000 miles away how to do business, and it's up to the state of Arizona to determine what that is, and we don't know what that looks like as that's rolling out. The Arizona State Board of Education is finalizing Arizona's accountability system. This is the second and last year when we don't have letter grades. Let me say that again. This is the second and last year when we don't have letter grades. They are currently out for an RFI, request for information on, they're seeking research proposals on how best to do that. And there's a lot of people kind of nervous about that. We don't know what's going to happen there. Of course, you might not realize we have a governing board election coming up. And we have 3 seats available. And if you don't know, I guess for everyone there, that filing window ends August 10th. It ends August 10th. It ends August 10th. If I didn't, sometimes I repeat myself. And last, here in the community, I want to make sure that people know that it is an absolute priority for me to be engaged with the community, our partners. I love that word. I promise I will do my best not to say that S word. With our partners, and I have meetings on the docket thanks to the marvelous Dana. I'm reaching out to the mayor, to the police chiefs, and some of those folks, and so as fast as I can to be fully engaged in the community to do that. And I realize that's a long report, but I already told you I've been waiting a long time for some mic time. Here endeth the report, President Bullock.
What I'd like to encourage, this is just strictly a suggestion, but to kind of make your mark as a new superintendent, you need to end that with something kind of cool, like, you know, like Tom Brokaw would do or something, go, and that's the rest of the story. Or Tom Brokaw didn't do that, but, you know, or some, like, news anchors do that.
I will take that under advisement,
like
sir.
a really cool way to end it. Don't listen to me. Thank you, Mrs. Doan. My wife says that. That's right, Paul Harvey, right. But everybody's got their cool ending tagline. I just strongly encourage it. All right, next item on the agenda is request for agenda items for future governing board meetings. I believe, Ms. Connect, you had mentioned something earlier about that.
I did, and I think eventually we need to really talk about ESSA, but perhaps wait until after the superintendent has come out with her recommendations and we really know what we're dealing with.
Okay, Mrs. Doan, anything for a future agenda item?
Not tonight.
Okay. Mrs. Pangarelli? Mr. Jonigan? Mr. Bullock, no. Next item on the agenda is consideration of approval of the consent agenda. Board members, would you like to pull any reports for corrections or notices or bragging? Nope. Okay, this requires a motion and a second to move it to a vote. Do I have a motion for the consent agenda?
I motion that we approve the items on the consent agenda as presented.
Okay, do we have a second for that?
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Please cast your votes. All right, consent agenda passes as stated. Now onto our reports. So we'll go ahead and pull these up. Again, all these reports are available on our website and in the online board packet. We encourage you to look at them. First one is a budget facilities planning construction report. We were talking earlier about our new our facility supervisor or director of facilities. And so everything here is all the items that are being done at a school near you: repairs, security, AC, roofing, all that type of stuff. So please take a look at that. There's amazing.
Protecting our investments.
You're right. It's amazing how much it costs to run the show. All right, next item on the agenda is report on upcoming meetings and events. We pull that up real quick. School starts already August 10th. Crazy. We're having our study session and our first meeting on July 18th on Monday. And,
No regular board meeting the second half of July.
right, August 11th, we're having a community reception to welcome Dr. Stifler. So we come there. I think we're having the little cheesecake bites again, which are the bomb, by the way. I come for those first, and anybody else second, nothing personal.
Yes, sir.
At least I'm honest.
Understood.
And full day professional day, and that's far enough. Any further makes me feel old. So read that if you'd so be inclined. Next item on the agenda is the draft agenda for our next board meeting, which is on August 11th, 2016. And opening, report on the opening and some other exciting things. Next item on the agenda is number 27, board member opportunity to readdress agenda items. Does anybody want to go back in time and bring anything else up that we forgot to talk about? Hearing none, we will move on to the next agenda item, which of course is the sad part of the night where we all go home and have dinner. So we need a motion and a second to move this to a vote.
I'll motion that we adjourn the meeting.
Second. Felt inclined. All right, please cast your votes. Oh, that was me. Right, did you just say I was really quiet that one time, right?
No, it was me.
Your voice doesn't go there.
Disturbing. All right, and all right, 5-2. Thank you very much, everyone. Have a great night. Thank you for being here and your support.
Matt, good job.
Nicely done.